for lesson, I think it's 6 on Photoshop, we're going to be making an advanced postcard. And it's going to involve multiple layers, multiple images, combining them together, changing it up, adding nice font. I'll probably split it into 2 different lessons, and this will be kind of what we'll do until Christmas break for the next 3 weeks. So for the first video here, we'll focus more on just getting the postcard images in order, and then on the second part, we'll focus on the text and how we can make the text look nice. The first thing we're going to mess with here is layers. So you'll notice on the right side over here, we have multiple layers with stuff already in them, but these eyeballs here are what's used to hide what's in those layers. Okay, so we have like a flower here, the word Hawaii, a postage stamp, a pineapple, and then also up here, I have 2 other images that we're going to use as well. And it's just kind of showing you guys how you can take different images, take different things, and put them all into one. So the first thing we're going to do is take this beach, picture of a beach here, and I'm going to drag it over. So what I do is, it's not locked. If it's locked, if it happens to be locked, which I don't know if I unlock, let me see. Yeah, it just happens not to be locked. But if there's a lock here, all you have to do is simply double click on that lock, make it go away, and then use your move tool, drag this picture wherever you want. And if you drag it up to the tab, and I'm still not letting go, and then I drag down, you can move it into another picture, okay? And it's still actually in this picture. Over here, you just kind of like made a copy of it. So the first thing we're going to do with this picture is add a border to it. So I can hide the pineapple real quick. And if we just want to add a border, what we're going to do is double click on the layer here on this outside part. Okay, and what's going to pop up is called layer styles. Now with layer styles, there's all kinds of cool stuff here. You can add shadows, inner shadows, glows, gradient overlays, all kinds of cool stuff. But in this case, what we're going to do is just add a border. Okay, now for the border, it's going to be called stroke. So click on stroke, and I clicked and it adds a check mark. But to actually go to the settings, to go to where you can change what you want your border to look like, you need to make sure you actually click on this. So see, now it changes over here. So once you get that, there's options here like the size, the position. Do you want it on the inside of the picture? Do you want it on the outside? Now, outside for some reason looks curvy. So like, kind of adds this little looks like an iPad or something, which maybe that's what you want. But if you do it on the inside, it's going to keep the corners nice and smooth like that. Okay, it's going to take away from some of the image, but your border shouldn't be too big anyways. But that's the way we kind of want it to look. So I'm going to change the size of this to only 5. So we're going to do 5. We're going to leave it on inside. We're going to change the blend. I'm sorry, we're not going to change the blend. We're going to keep that on normal. And then the opacity. Now blending, by the way, like if you want it to blend in, since it's in the inside with stuff in the background, uh, a lot of these, there's nothing in the back right now because I guess it's even just blending with, it's just a white background. But that's what those are for. Opacity, that's like its transparency. If this is 0, it becomes invisible. Okay. Same thing. You can kind of maybe see what's in the background if you wanted, but we're going to leave that at 100%. And then lastly, what we're going to change. Oh, the size. I said 5, right? That's too big. It's not changing. Hold on. There we go. And then lastly, what we're going to change right here is the color. So I'm going to change the color to white. Okay. And now I have a white border. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is rearrange the layers a little bit. So right now, the layers are kind of pineapple, flower, Hawaii, postage. We just want to make sure that we have the things where we want them correctly. So let's see, I'm going to make these kind of pop up. All right. And what the order I kind of want is I want the pineapple in the very back, which is fine. Okay. And then I want the picture next. So I'm going to rename this, by the way. So I double click right here. I'm going to call it beach picture. It looks like a picture. I'm going to drag that down here. See how I drag them? So I just drag it right here above pineapple. So it's above pineapple. The next one is flower. That's fine. Then Hawaii. That's fine too. And then postage. So that's kind of the order we want it. But of course, we're going to kind of hide some of these things a little bit for now. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to hide that. And I'm going to hide that. Okay. So the next thing we want to do now is kind of resize the picture a little bit. The picture's a little too big. So I'm just going to go press Control T. So it's Control T and it opens up my transform options. And then if I hold down Shift, it'll keep it proportional while I resize it. If I don't hold down Shift, I can make it too skinny, too wide, and maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want your picture to kind of look a little wider or whatever, taller. But most of the time you want it to stay proportional. So I hold down Shift a lot, just make it a little smaller. And let's see, let me make sure I'm doing this the right way. Make sure it's not too big. Yeah, let's put it right here and then kind of like curve it like that. Okay, let's see. Make it just a little smaller. Something like that. Okay, and this will all look better here towards the end. But now that we kind of have our picture where we want it, we're going to make it go away real quick. And we're going to go back to this pineapple. Now the pineapple looks a little dry. Okay, so what we're going to do to fix the pineapple so it looks less dry is we're going to create a copy of it and blend the two together to create a more healthy, vibrant looking pineapple. And you'll see what I mean when we get this done right here. So what we're going to do is right click on the pineapple and go to duplicate layer. So we have another pineapple. So they're both the same pineapple and they're right on top of each other. But what we're going to do is blend the two pineapples together to create a nice, vibrant looking pineapple. Okay. So how we do this is right here where it says normal. That's your blending options for layers. Now it blends with whatever layers below it. And in this case, we want the pineapple to blend with we want the two pineapples to blend together. So I'm going to click the one on top to blend it with the one on bottom. So I'm going to go up here to where it says normal now, and I'm going to find the blend that I like the most, okay? I already know which one I'm going to use, but I'm going to just go through these. So if you just click it like this, see how it's highlighted, you can then use your arrow keys and just cycle through it and see which ones you like. So you can see how some, look better than others. Overlay looks pretty good, I guess. Soft light looks pretty good. Hard light, some of these look really good. It's just finding the one you like the most. Now the one that, let's see, that doesn't, they say to use multiply, but I don't like multiply. Let's just use overlay. I think that looks okay. Or maybe even soft light. Let's just try overlay. So you can see what it did right there. It just made the pineapple look a little more healthy, more vibrant, instead of looking dry, like a dry plain pineapple. Now we have the colors that stand out a little bit more and the dark stand out a little more. It just helps it look more vibrant. So once we get that, we can then combine these two layers. We don't need two layers of our pineapples. So once we get it the way we want, we can just click on both of them. So to click on both of them, you can hold down Shift, click on both. If you ever want to click on two different layers that are not next to each other, like say I want to click on Hawaii. If I hold down Shift, click Hawaii, it's going to click on all these layers. So I just want to click Hawaii and pineapple, so I can hold down Control and it'll select it like that to click if they're not next to each other. But in this case, they're next to each other, so we can hold down Shift, click them. They're both highlighted, and then I'm going to right click on them and then go to merge layers. So now they're merged together. I don't want it to be called pineapple copy. I'm going to take away the copy part. And there we go. I have now my pineapple looking better. And then our picture right there looking good. I'll make the flower pop up again real quick. And our postage. Now our postage, we're going to kind of make it look a little less dark. So what you can do is right here when you click on postage, right next to where our blending options are, there's an option called opacity, which we just talked about earlier. That's the transparency, how invisible it looks. And you can also just make it look less, just to make it look less solid. Maybe the ink they're using is not as strong as we want it to look. Like you want it to look maybe just more realistic, right? So let's just lower this number, and you don't want to lower it too much, but just kind of get it to where the ink looks a little more faded and not as dark. Okay, so now you got that looks good. The next thing we're going to do is create a background here of clouds. Now this part's pretty cool, so I'm going to just hide everything real quick, and I'm just going to go to my background layer right here, the white background. Now to create our clouds, what you're going to do first is create another layer above the background called clouds. Call it clouds, like that. Okay, and while you're clicked on the clouds layer, we're going to go down to our color picker. So let's see. Here's our colors up here. You have a foreground color and a background color. Do y'all see that? It says background, foreground. That's the background. Usually whenever you're using your colors and paints, it's going to use that top color, but sometimes when you do blending options or small gradient, it can combine those two colors and create like a mix. So in this case, what we're going to do on the background color is put these numbers in for the RGB, and it's going to create like a light blue. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to put 48. So like it's already starting to look light blue. 138. Okay, and now this one's going to help lighten it up the most. 134. Okay, well, not the most, but I guess it's like this light sky looking blue. Okay, so we have these two colors right here. We have white and we have blue. And then what we're going to do next is go up to the top where it says filter, go down to where it says render, and then go to where it says clouds. And what this is going to do is use those foreground and background colors and create a mix of those colors to create clouds like that. Okay. Now, what's cool about this is you can even do another color, right? You could do red and black or something, and you can go do the same thing. Select or filter, render, clouds. Okay, so it creates some cool effects of other different colors as well, but in this case, we obviously want it for clouds, so that's what we're going to do. Change these back to white just in case I do something else later and I don't want the color to be different. Okay, so now we can see we have our pineapple on top of the clouds. That's pretty good. We have this beach picture kind of tilted. We have a flower. We have the word why, which we'll get to next on the next lesson, and then we have a postage. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is add this other flower into the picture as well. So I'm going to drag this flower right here, okay? And I want this flower to be kind of in the same type of layer close to the other flower, but this one, I'm going to resize it, and I'm going to put it down here at the bottom, okay? Now notice I'm trying to make the size similar to that one, but I'm not using this bottom part of the flower. It's okay when you get images to use just parts of the image that you want to use instead of the whole thing. So I'm going to put it right here like that. Press enter. Now we have both of our flowers, and they're looking pretty good. So I think that's it for this lesson. The next lesson, I'll go ahead and do the text. That'll take a little bit longer because it's not a little bit longer, but it's just different kind of things. Well, this one's mostly focusing on editing images and kind of organizing and layers. The next one will focus on Hawaii and adding our own text and things like that. So I'll go ahead and end this video. Make sure you watch it to get full credit, which I'm sure if you heard me just say that, you probably watched the whole thing. And we'll do the next one here in the next week or so. Okay.